Welcome to your daily Google News. I'm your host, Kasim, and I'm so excited to speak with Leake, the Google Ads super freak. I swear to God, that was an accident.
You said John was the guy, the Google guy, not me.
Yeah, Ed is at least in the top 2 smartest Google guys on the planet. And we'll leave it at that. And I had to beg. I think beg is the right word. That's the right way to say. I had to like stalk at least to get you on this show, Ed. And then you just came out of guilt. You came because you did somebody else's show and you realized like Kasim's going to see this and I'm going to have to answer to him. So you're like throwing me a bone here. Explain yourself.
It was atrocious, wasn't it? I did we've been talking about doing a video for ages. And then I went and did someone else's, which is coming out very shortly. And I felt guilty. So I threw you an email. Well, no, I went through the official channels and I booked a call with you via your website. Requesting Google Ads help from the number 1 agency in the United States, Solutions 8.
Or the world.
Oh, right. Yeah. Bollocks.
Yeah, so I'm going to give, if you don't know Ed, and you should, by the way, if you don't know Ed, I found Ed through a Facebook ad. And to be honest with you, I just instantly assume anybody advertising coaching and training to me is full of absolute shit. And so, but I buy all of it. I buy all of it because I want to know and I want to keep my finger to the pulse. And so like I've spent so much money on just absurd training and I paid not a lot. That's the thing that pisses me off about you, Ed, is you give the amount of content you give away for the money. Well, you're ruining education for the rest of us because you're just giving away the farm. But I bought Ed's
for me.
God tier ads in the beginning, right? It's now called the Forge.
I to not know the name of it.
God, what was it? Was the little thing you got, Ed? What is it?
You got it cheap a year ago, and I always support early backers. So I ratchet the price up over time of most things.
But it's still cheap. What is it?
For $3.99 at the minute.
A year?
Forever.
Lifetime.
I'm updating it every month.
$400 forever. And you've got, are there any gaps? Is there anything you don't teach inside the Google ecosystem? Like any channels you don't touch on?
There's not a huge amount of YouTube ads in there. But then let's face it, YouTube ads. You can cut that bit.
You did it.
You don't have to, don't worry. YouTube ads, it's afternoon here for me. It's all about the video anyway. So
in case people don't know, Ed is English and you're actually English from England in England right now. So this is late. This is nighttime. Yeah,
it's only it's 4:30 in the afternoon. So I've already done a full day's work.
Right.
Which Kasim doesn't know what that means.
No, this is all I have to do today. And then I'm just going to go shoot things and drive a great big truck on massive roads.
You can't drive a big truck with your hair.
I need to drive a big truck with my hair. I have to compensate.
Oh, right. Yeah. So I don't know where we were going with this.
Well, I'm trying to sell your thing. So if you're watching this,
Ed, you don't need to. I mean, look,
here's the thing. Not for you, for my subscribers. You charge $400 life, and you give away more value than anybody I've seen in the Google Ads space. Anybody. I charge $1,000 for my course. And dude, to be honest with you, I charge that because I need to. The amount of time, effort, energy.
You bought my course to fill yours out, and then you've charged exactly 10x what you pay.
Yeah, I just stole all of Ed's stuff and then I repackaged it.
Yeah, which is fine. That's life, isn't it? I mean, mine's all made up on the spot, to be honest. So essentially, if anyone wants to find me, edleake.com, and I link off to my stuff. And it's not for noobs, but there is no YouTube. There's not a lot.
Dude, is anything in Google Ads for noobs? Is there anything a brand new person with no context whatsoever can do, except maybe like the Google guaranteed? Like what is there?
Performance Max.
Dude, I think Performance Max is going to make things harder.
Local ads. No, I think what I mean is if you've only been doing it for 3 months, or you're just if you want a training program that takes you from, I don't know which button to click, where to find something, that's not what I've put together. I put together frameworks, cheat sheets, checklists.
Yeah. Where do you send people who don't know what button to click? What's your favorite? You know, do you like Isaac Radansky, Mike Rhodes? Who do you point people to?
Who? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Never heard of those two charlatans.
No, Mike bought God tier as well. I think he's just being nosy, bless him. But so I wouldn't pay. I wouldn't pay for anything. No,
YouTube.
not for the basics. YouTube. The good thing about YouTube, you can vet the quality of the material. I mean, they can watch you, they can watch me. I'm not very active. But you've literally got tutorials left, right, and center. So watch one, watch another, and disseminate it and say, well, they said this, they didn't. And what's missing? Fill in the gaps. That's free. The Google training's free. The Google training's a little bit.
The Google training's horrible. It's horrible.
I know.
Yeah. Maximize everything and just let it go. Trust us.
It is. Yeah, it is. Yes, it is a bit biased.
It's horrible, and it's gotten worse. It actually used, at least from like a nomenclature perspective, it used to be really helpful to go through the training because you could see Google actually taught you the navigation. They don't even do that anymore. They don't teach you where things live.
It's more now a philosophical.
That's right.
How's Google's philosophy to manage ads and make them money?
Yeah, which is Google's. I mean, they're very clear. They used to be a little bit more fair and balanced. They actually cared about performance. I don't see that anymore, man. They're trying to maximize the value of their inventory more and more every day.
I think Google is struggling to innovate. I really do. I think it's been a bit flat for years. They used to, but then Google had a spate of buying up all these small companies and turning them into bigger things like YouTube, for example. And buying all this technology, and I don't know. It all seems a bit, but then we don't know really what's in the black box behind the scenes. This move towards, and I said this the other day, they want to get in a position, don't they? Quite frankly, where you and I don't exist. I don't mean on planet Earth, or quite frankly, they
might want that.
Yeah, they probably don't care. He's a truck driver and he's British. Get rid of him. So. Yeah, they want to input a budget and they want you to input a URL and then they want you to bugger off. Then they cut out the middleman and get to a point where they can write the ads, scrape the site to do so, and position, run the auction, the budget, and get you conversions. And I think that's the end goal.
The problem with it, though, is it just speaking philosophically, I find it to be technically impossible because you pick an industry, karate schools, it doesn't matter. What will end up happening is you're trusting one mechanism to distribute the traffic between all of the available options. And the only way to write that code, and I'd love for you to challenge me on this, please, because you're a smarter guy than I am when it comes to this stuff by a multiple. And I really mean that. I'm pandering, but I also mean it. Let's say karate schools, Phoenix, Arizona. If Google has to choose between all the karate schools, they're not going to build a hierarchical structure. There's not going to be a winner based on relevance. There can't be. Instead, Google is going to do the math and say, I have this much inventory. I have this many schools. Here's what the schools are willing to spend. And they're going to distribute the spend and maximize the value of the inventory. That's how they have to do it. And so all of the karate schools that follow Google's rules are going to be in this horrible flatline commoditized market. The one school that learns to optimize or to outsmart Google, let's say, is going to be the one that wins.
Well, they already do that.
They already try, but right now we have more power to fight it.
That's the auction, though. That is target CPA and target ROAS. I mean, that is, we have X number of, we have a finite volume. And this is the thing a lot of people don't seem to understand. There's only X number of people searching for your thing at any given time. And you want all of the clicks and all of the ad slots ultimately, if you can fill those seats and make the sales. But if you're using any kind of auction that's automated, like target CPA, target ROAS, Google's already portioning up the seats. So it's not going to give you the top seat every single day unless you're reckless and literally say infinite budget, infinite bid, and then they will.
Right.
And it's essentially max conversions. But they're already doing it. So, yeah, and I think it will come down to quality of website already has an impact. We know that landing page in the quality score. I think it's used in RSAs, the predictive headlines and text to use.
Well, DSA too. I mean, your keywords are going to come from the copy on your site.
Yeah, DSA is pure. Well, not pure. Pretty much your organic index.
It's paid SEO.
Yeah, it is. And so it's already happening. So it's not a great leap to take that model to a situation where everyone is treated like a small business, a budget and a URL. It might even be a two-tier system where they say, well, if you haven't got X to spend, then you have to use local ads or whatever.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking this is a bit more sort of the Matrix, and I'm being too cynical of where Google's headed, but I don't know.
Well, so that's my question. Every time they try to muscle us out, like I thought when smart shopping rolled out, I was like, it's over. This is the canary in the coal mine. Agencies are dead. I made so much money on smart shopping because it was so, I mean, you compare shopping to smart shopping and from the outside looking in, smart shopping is easier to, I don't know what you said, but I'm sure it was funny.
I just said so easy.
So, well, you look at smart shopping, you're like, this is so easy, but then the amount of management around on the peripherasis was insane. It's way easier to figure out shopping because it's linear. Smart shopping, there was the analogy that I've been using recently, and I just came up with this is Google Ads used to be a Formula One race car, and you're in complete control of this car, and you have to make decisions, it split seconds. Now it's interstellar space travel. The machine has to fly the spaceship because we're not smart enough to do that, but you still have to service the ship. And so smart shopping actually made things more difficult, more multivariant. And I think the need for an agency became greater. I think the same thing's going to happen with Performance Max. And I know Performance Max is eating up smart shopping and local campaigns, but I think Google, in taking away direct control, is forcing the need for so much more analysis on the periphery that it's going to be really hard for people to fly solo.
It changes the role of the agency. So the agency goes from being, people are not going to hire you or me. But you can't hire me at the minute, but they're not going to be able to hire people like us to push buttons is the difference. They're going to need to hire us to do the analytical side, the copy, the conversion optimization stuff, and the data attribution, inspection, and understanding of outside of, so essentially stuff that's outside of Google Ads. I think for the past 10 years, we've had it really good. Really good. Google Ads is a phenomenal tool on the biggest search intent-driven platform where customers are literally lining up to tell you what they want. It's incredible. It's incredible. But I think that because of privacy and tracking and all the other stuff, and Google trying to automate so many buttons away, how long can we keep going on as an industry saying, well, we charge X an hour, or we charge this for PPC management? It's like, well, hold on a minute. The customer is going to become more and more savvy, and they're going to know, well, you have less buttons to press inside the thing. So you can't charge me as much for the thing anymore because I've seen the buttons. It used to be a keyboard with an extension on it. Now it's just like a big red button in the center.
Yeah, just make money. It's the make money button.
You're like on, off. That's Performance Max, isn't it? I mean, let's be frank. So it's then where do you come in as an agency, as a marketer? I know a lot of your audience here on YouTube is it's probably mixed, isn't it? You've got a lot of
50%. I've done a survey. So according to this, and the survey's already bent, if you think about the logic behind the people that respond to the survey, it's probably veered in a certain direction, but 50% of the people are agencies and 50% of the people are business owners or marketers.
So it's probably interesting to both parties because there's probably a few business owners watching this going, yeah, you bunch of bastards overcharging us, which is not what I'm saying. And there's probably a lot of agencies going, for fuck's sake, Ed. Can you stop devaluing us? And I'm just being honest where I think it's going over 4-5 years. And I think it is a move away from the button pushing, just saying Google Ads, what can you add on top? What can you do on top? What can you compartmentalize? Who can you buddy up with? If you're a freelancer, do you know someone that's really good at something that you're not, that a client would need? Things like connecting CRMs, if you're working with plumbers or whatever, and their data is not being fed back into Google, we know that Google's moving more towards a ROAS perspective. They want revenue. It's not just revenue as well, excuse me, but lead qualifying, all the steps. So instead of just having a phone call, we've now got, well, we've always had it, but I think it should be more front and center, the value of that, and the next step into the funnel, and then finally getting to the sale at the end. So you've actually got a way of seeing your value track, which has been around for God knows how many years, but still not enough people do it. And it's because
none of my clients do it. I think, I've got almost 200 clients now, and I think half of those are e-com. So take those off the table because they're easier. But of the remaining, I bet you 10% provide us with. So there's a question: how irresponsible am I being? Is it the responsibility of the agency to force this? Do you not take the client? Because we ask them, we tell them, but then nobody does the work.
Well, no, I mean, it was more a case of that small business doesn't want to have to do that because it's a pain in the arse. They've got to learn. It's tech, right. It's integration. It's not what they want to do. And
I don't think the technical hurdle is the problem. I think CRMs are easy enough. You can do it from the phone. I think it's the compliance. Every salesperson every time needs to go in there, score the lead anecdotally, pipe in the amount of money we made in the beginning, pipe in the amount of money we made lifetime. And getting people to do that is very difficult.
It is. But even if you don't put sales data in, even if you qualify, like if you're big on phone calls, you're a dental practice or whatever,
right?
Qualifying, just having the difference between a phone call and then another layer, which might even be secondary conversions. So they're not counted in the overall conversions, but crap versus good call. And a crap call might be someone ringing up and 10 seconds later dropping. But instead of doing an arbitrary number like the phone call length, you do have a human qualifying it. And there are plenty of systems available to do this. And
we do it now. We have a team that listens to every call and scores it because our clients won't do it. So we have 3 members of this team. It's a horrible job. It's hard to hire for.
There you go. So you guys have adapted to it to say, well, look, this is our value add. We will literally qualify calls for you. And we agree on how we intersect that and put a value on that data. Can we qualify it as good, bad?
It's binary, dude. We do it in call tracking metrics. It's not very advanced. It's, was this a lead? Was it not? So let's say you're a real estate investor. You're trying to buy houses. I don't care if they have equity. I don't care where it is geographically, as long as it's properly in the fence. Like we don't try to say, oh, this is a 7 out of 10. It's lead, yay, nay.
Yeah.
And
like
that's as far as we've gotten. Yeah.
Okay. So if you're a freelancer, you might struggle to do that, but even a small agency would be able to do a certain level of that. And it's a value add. If you're knocking at the door or someone's come to your door asking you to do the Google ads, how the hell are you going to stand out? Oh yeah, we do Google ads. We've got an award. We've got false mustaches. It's like everyone's got that. Like everyone's saying the same crap. And I do teach this inside Forge, the private group. Positioning is so weak in our industry. We're a bunch of marketers who don't know how to market ourselves. And we were guilty.
I think we're marketers. I think we're data nerds. I think the good Google ads people are data.
That's why we've had it so good for so many years, because as more competition comes on, it inflates the bids, which inflates the bids because it compounds. It's the one thing that is problematic for small businesses.
And self-imposed inflation, especially with the automated bid adjustments, one person goes into a stasis ecosystem and it just starts to spiral up.
Yes. And it gets to the point where it's like, well, I wanted to leave for $30, but now I've been told I'm going to pay 45. And then by year 5, you're like, well, we're now at $110 and my profit used to be 30%. It's now 7%. I don't like my business anymore. Yeah, I think that's where we're at. And I think the agencies that will survive, going full circle to where this all kicked off about 15 minutes ago, is to offer specific things to people that make sense. So if you're good at a certain CRM, well, tell people about it and don't try and do all of them. And if you're good at the value track stuff and bringing it back into the system and the call qualifying stuff like that, make that a bloody service. That's far more important than clicking buttons in Google Ads going forwards, I believe. And I sell a training product and an ads management tool, AdEvolver.com. And yeah, I'm stood here saying that the edge there is diminishing. I'm not, I'm the guy selling shovels in a gold rush, but also grabbing a shovel myself and running up the hill. So I'm
well, you have to, because, and you said something to me that I really respected you for. You stay in the agency space to keep your finger to the pulse. Like, you don't take on clients right now. You're done. You're tapped out.
Too many. I can't.
Too many.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a small team and I don't need any more.
But that's how you stay sharp. So all your education, your software program, it comes from what you're learning, boots on the ground.
Oh yeah. I still review in the agency. I'm the steer. So if we have anything, problem is most things are run past me, projections, that sort of thing. Any issues, concerns, strategies, it's all run past me. And I still, up to not that late into last year, ran a few accounts. I ran a big lead gen account, 150 grand a month spend, and then a middle size e-com, about 50, 60K a month on average. And that was just me, just to keep my foot in. Now, a little secret, the e-com account took me probably an hour a week to run, and they were spending, if you include seasonal peaks and troughs, probably $750,000, but in dollars, it's over $1 million. An hour a week, if that. No client comms though, because they've been with us for so many bloody years. And so what do you need to charge to press buttons for? If I can knock it out in an hour or two a week, what are we getting paid for?
So I have a couple of comments here that I'd love for you to bat down. The first one is you still have the responsibility of $1 million. You have to pay me to take your bag of $1 million and bring it anywhere, because now I'm assuming that risk, right? No matter if it takes an hour a week or an hour a day. And then the hour a week, that's the amount of time you're invested in actually making things work, but they're occupying a certain amount of headspace.
Yes. That's a very fair comment.
That's not and it's not a small thing either. There's only so many, like
the lead gen account is a much bigger spend, and I am emotionally invested in that. Because they've been, both of those accounts have been with us like 5-6 years, if not longer. So yeah, I think about them. Problem is, I used to think about every single client, every single account every day, because it's a good agency, a respectful person as well, would be like that. It's an emotional burden because you're concerned about their spend, their business, their outcomes. And that's why I'm very hard on vetting clients, because I never wanted any old Tom, Dick and Harry. I wanted them to understand that, this is a two-way thing, and I don't just do it for the money, and I don't want the additional pressure if I think they're going to be a pain in the backside. So yeah, that is a big thing. And if there's a performance concern, or if there's an issue, I take it personally. That's why I can't grow it anymore, because it would kill me. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So just, I had a client, one of my favorite clients actually, and Todd, if you're watching this, I still love you, but I'm about to bash you. He emailed me saying, he's been with us for years. I want a discount. I looked at change history and you're not making enough changes to justify what I'm paying. I'm like, dude, I've got 3 dedicated resources. So we have a specialist, a client manager, a strategist. We're looking at your account every 3 days at a minimum, sometimes daily. Just because you don't see changes, it's not about the buttons that I know to press. It's about the buttons I know not to press. Yeah. And the fact that we're, and I think we're going to reach an equitable, and he has been with us for a long time, and his account because of that is a little bit easier. There's no denying that. But, the whole like, oh, you're not spending enough time in here. I'm like, man, that is the wrong way to look at it. I'm getting you a 600% ROAS. I've built a money printing machine for you that without me will atrophy and die. So I think that's probably worth something.
Oh, absolutely. But there's always that perception from the person who's paying the bill, is that, well, hold on a minute. If Kasim can do that on 5 hours a week, what can Terry do on 50 hours a week? And he's charging a grand less.
Dude, my favorite thing to do with people, and I do this all the time. I just I'm like, hey, I'll see you in 90 days. Go test them. Yeah, God bless you.
Yeah, we've never ever, apart from in the early days when I had no idea what I was doing, we never competed on price. Very rarely discounted unless it's something we really want to do or there was a ratchet involved. But yeah, it's so difficult. So that's a major red flag, though. No offense to the chap that you mentioned, but if someone's checking their account every day, they're not a desirable client, because it doesn't work like that. That's
Well, and
like
this
checking
dude, he
your
knows
investments
Google
every
Ads.
day.
He knows Google Ads better than most agencies. He's a sharp guy, sharp entrepreneur. He just knows he doesn't want to do it. So yeah, God bless him. You teach this to agency owners, don't you, Ed? You've got a whole, you just released like how to grow, how to scale, how to manage, what's it called? The agency sequence?
I don't know. Did I give it a name?
You should.
Do you mean inside God Tier Forge?
Yeah, in Forge there's something called, hold on, I'm gonna find it. God Tier. How come I know this and you don't? Oh, it's just called agency growth.
Because I'm a rubbish salesperson.
You really are, dude. You're horrible. You don't charge enough money. Life, $400 for life.
Yeah,
that should at least be a year. You're killing me. All right, so hold on. I'm going to share it here. So if you're an agency and you don't go buy this, you're stupid. I should be an affiliate. Do I have an affiliate link, Ed? Where's my affiliate link?
Why does Zoom full screen everything? I've got a massive screen. It burns my face off if it goes full screen.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's inside the Forge. Yeah, I can give you an affiliate link and you can stick it in this video.
I'm joking. I just want people to know I'm not an affiliate. I'm not pimping that out for any other reason than I just think his content is phenomenal. And dude, you're devastatingly funny, especially via like the emails you send are so hysterical. But this is great, like picking your niche. Value
stuff that people should know, to be fair.
Yeah.
There's nothing new here. It's got my twist and my take on it. And I am adding more to that as we go. Because I need to move into the onboarding and the comms side. Because
I've got an onboarding video for you. I already shot it. It's in queue.
Oh, okay. That's brilliant. It's appreciated. So yeah, Kasim actually paid to be part of the community and then doesn't use it, but then he's adding some value for me, which is nice.
I steal from you all the time. What do you mean I don't use it? If I don't know what to shoot as a video, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go steal from Ed.
Well, you kind of beat me to it. I was going to say, but look, at the end of the day, if you can't make money with the stuff I give you, then I don't know. Maybe you should do something different, become a professional ironer or something.
Become a life coach.
Yes, there you go.
There it is.
Yeah, sell my course for me or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Affiliate. Sorry, I'm not being flippant.
No, I love flippant. I think it's awesome. So I'm going to pivot on you a little bit and we're going to get uncomfortable. I think you and I are going to be fine, but I think the audience is going to get uncomfortable. I have a feeling you and I have the same guess as to the economic outlook and what could happen. And it would be really interesting for both business owners and agencies to start to have that conversation, I think, and then maybe even prepare a little bit. So in as much as you're comfortable doing so, what's Ed Leake's prognostication looking forward?
Okay, so for full disclosure, I also have an investment company. So all the money I make, I invest. So I am fully invested in the markets, and but I'm a long-term investor. So I am familiar with the economy in quite in depth. And I am slightly cynical of the near future. I think we're on the precipice because we have been for so long. We've been blowing bubbles for so long. We're past the natural cycle of the market. COVID has forced the hand, so we've got the money printing. The Fed, everyone's looking at the Fed because the problem is America sneezes, everyone gets a cold, as we know in terms of economics. Well, China's shifted the ball a little bit, but China is on the back foot with certain things. They're having problems with supply, they're having problems with production. It all comes down to how the Fed reacts. And the problem is the Fed they've always screwed it up. So it's like, but sometimes they screw it up in the favor of the markets going on a run, i.e. printing record amounts of money, transferring the wealth inadvertently to people that are invested. And then companies are buying back their own shares, which inflates which is not a bad thing to do, by the way. It helps investors. You know, if I'm a shareholder and the company's buying back shares, it helps me and it helps them.
Well, it helps you until it doesn't, though. The problem is that that's a game. There's a waterfall at the end of that.
But the reason is that this free cash, they've got this money swilling around that they don't know what to do with. So when you see a company buying back its own shares, it's because it's making a lot of dough. But we've just seen the recent tech sell-off. I'm not heavily in techs. You know, I've got the big guys, Microsoft and what have you, but I was actually short Twitter and Netflix and long Microsoft. That was my position, which has worked out quite well.
Well, so what are you in? Is it like consumables, household? Like, are you one of the look in your kitchen and see what you buy?
I don't want to give any stock tips, but
sure. But categorically,
I like miners. I like cyclical stuff, consumer stuff, banks, finance, stuff that most people hate. And it works over 5, 10 years, 20 years. I've been in the market for 20 years. And that's a good thing. But I like dividends as well. And, you know, and not most tech stocks don't like.
Yeah, but so I've tried to play the div game, and you can get a little lopsided there. And I'll use the word greedy. I have a foolproof plan for stock market investing, and I don't mind giving a stock tip. What we would do, Ed, is you would buy any stock. It doesn't matter which one. Okay. You would short that stock. Excuse me. You wouldn't buy it. You would short it. So you pick a stock, you short that stock, and then after you've shorted it, you tell me what it is, and I buy it. And then when God sees me buy that stock, it instantly plummets to zero. This is 100% true. 100%. This is foolproof. It can't fail. And then we'll split whatever it is that you make.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's going to turn into investment stuff, but the problem is everyone looks at the wrong thing. All the news outlets are wrong. All the active investors are wrong. If you actually look, the funds, the big hedge funds that are actively managing, about 2 in every 100 beat the market each year. It's ridiculous. They're only doing it to make their 4%, their 5%. You can look at this, it's crazy. And there's nothing changed about it. And yet very, very wealthy people like to stick their money in these funds, but then they get other rewards for doing that. So I won't go into that. But the fact is, like, return on capital is mega, and people always talk about PE. Oh, price to earnings. It's like, yeah, but they don't mean anything now, because people like Microsoft can be like 60 times earning, you know, which is 10 times the norm or whatever. And it's like, well, yeah. So I think people look at the wrong things, and I think it's going to come down. It's already started to. I was saying this last year. It might be a bit of a bounce or whatever, but I think agencies and businesses need to be thinking about the next few years on this as well. And from a service provider perspective, it's, again, where's the value? Like, what if I'm pushing buttons, then, and I'm working in America, so my cost of living is, you know, considerable. And there are people around the world that can do this. They can do the same thing for me. They're in an emerging economy, or even a third world economy, if we dare call it that. So how are they not going to take my job is what I'd be thinking about. You know, if all I can do is push the buttons. So it's going to that next level of what do people actually need to add the additional value, and it's compartmentalizing those bits and pieces. And even if it's an add-on at the start, like the call tracking with the qualifying, or if it's an ongoing thing like actual call qualifying, like your guys are doing, excuse me, then that's a value that's very difficult to get rid of to save money, because you're not just saving money, you're saving a lot of time. Like, the business owner doesn't want to do that. So you're not just trading time for hours, money for hours. There is an intrinsic value with that additional thing you're doing. And I guess it's just thinking about what these additional things are. And doing a website is not an additional thing of value, because everyone
you can't make money in web. The minute I'll get in trouble for this, but the minute the Indians got good, I used to sell websites, and I could get $100,000 for a website. And then, you know, you could go to India and get your website done, but it was a nightmare. Communication was bad, quality was bad, whatever. As soon as the Indian developers got good, it was over. You can go to India now and get a $500 website, and it's phenomenal. Design is great. Compliance is great. SEO is great. Yeah. So I don't know.
Well, we had this brief conversation at the start where I said the country with the most software developers in the world it's not America, it's not China, it's India.
Is that just a byproduct of population though? I mean, that's not per capita, right? That's just in aggregate total.
It's a total, yeah. But but it is what it is, and and just like any other country, they're going to have a good and bad. So there's going to be a lot of good people there that can do the job, and you got to remember, still 60-something% of the world live on less than $10 a day or something.
Yeah, I think it was 40% of the world lives on less on $2 is what I read.
Oh,
$2 a day, like something absurd though.
So if you're like in the West essentially, and you're on Twitter complaining about, I don't know, Starbucks forgot to put some cream in your latte or whatever.
It's a little shameful.
You're looking in the wrong direction at what to complain about.
Yeah. So if you make $35,000 or more a year, you're in the top 1% globally. $35,000 is in the top 1% globally. And we go after the 1%ers. And I'm not saying that wealth inequality isn't a problem, but I do think that, the question starts to become like, well, what 1% are we talking about? And if you choose to draw the lines in a very creative way, then, I think you're cheating.
Yeah, I think about this stuff because I'm like, well, hold on a minute. I'm good at what I do, but so other people. So what's going to make me obsolete? Well, how do I need to pivot and move? I'm 39, 40 this year, and there'll come a time. Are you freaking out?
Do you have a midlife crisis coming?
No, because if I shave, I get ID'd for booze.
Yeah, so. So you look very youthful, but there's still there's something about the number. I grew my hair. My hair is the midlife crisis. I'm dying inside, and then this is what I did. It was this or a Corvette.
Did you buy Did you buy a soft top as well, so your hair could flap around in the wind?
I should. Yeah, just let it blow in the wind. Yeah, I'll look great in that.
Yeah. But I don't know where to go with that. You need to start. Why does my camera go blurry? You need to start on OnlyFans, don't you?
I should.
Camera. So where I was going with that. Where was it going? Oh yeah, I like, even I'm tired of it. So I understand like me saying to people, oh, well, you need to pivot, you need to differentiate, you need to. It's tiring, it's hard work.
Well, dude, I don't think Google Ads agencies need to pivot. I actually think in a down economy, and I'd love for you to challenge me on this. I think in a down economy, and I've seen this happen in microcosms with industries. Industry gets hit for whatever reason. They kill 100% of the top of the funnel, the middle of the funnel, most of the bottom of the funnel, and they go down to the extreme. Like you said it earlier in this talk, Google is amazing. It delivers intent. So in a downed economy, everybody rushes to intent. They don't care about branding long-term, fill the pipeline. It goes away. They kill the 90% of their costs. And that's what's really funny too in the agency space. When I look at what other agencies charge, like what a branding agency charges or what SEO agency charges, it's laughable. Cause I'm like, I'm the one delivering the money. Like I bring you the money. This guy makes you feel good about your presence on Facebook. The benefit though, is I know, even though he's charging 10X what I'm charging, the minute there's any sort of economic turmoil, whatever, he's on the chopping block without a second thought. And I'm in the Alamo and I'm the very last guy to go.
Yes. Oh yeah. I think when I said pivot, I don't mean to move out of Google Ads. I mean, is there anything you can add beside it or on top of it?
Yeah.
But not become a generic
Me Too
agency. No, you're quite right. I think Google Ads, it depends what industry you're in, because there are some cyclical industries that, or even seasonal. And if the summer is your weak period and there's a market crash and the economy goes tanking in May, June, well, you're going to cut spending full stop. Doesn't matter what you do. So there are certain businesses and therefore clients out there that simply can't weather that kind of storm and literally batten down the hatches for a period of time. And that's it, isn't it? But the problem, we've got a very different dynamic coming, because we have this ridiculous inflation, which will be eaten away if we have a recession. It'll be eaten away if they stop printing money, which will cause the recession.
They'll never stop printing money.
We still have supply side issues in the East. So it doesn't necessarily mean that there's going to be any savings on the product side, on the production side, on this, that, and the other. It might be the opposite. So it's just a very precarious time we're living in. And if the Fed keep printing, then they'll keep kicking the can down the street for another year. And I will look cynical, pessimistic. But it can't go on forever. History rhymes. And I think we just need to think about positioning ourselves a bit better for the future and being a bit more dynamic. But I don't know, but I'm still investing, but I average in every month. I don't care about what happens tomorrow unless it's a bus heading towards me as I step out into the street. But when it comes to investments, it's just I do the same with crypto. I just nibble, put a bit in, and hopefully in 10 years you look back and you're like, oh, it's gone up £7. But it might not. It might go the other way.
What is that in real money, Ed?
$10.
Oh.
I'm kidding. No, it's there is one very good predictor for the markets, and that is time. Typically, it's very rare that if you zoom out far enough that it doesn't go up and to the right. But that isn't PPC managers or SEO, or whatever people do here. But that on the plus side, it might not happen this year, and if it doesn't, you'll forget about this conversation, and it'll become irrelevant, and you'll carry on happily. And
so you give great advice to agencies, I think, which is diversify, find more value to add. What advice do you have for business owners? How do you protect yourself, hedge? What are the, if any? But I imagine you give this to your clients, so I'd love to know what you'd give to our listeners.
Oh God, there's no one size fits all, isn't there? The problem is, what's the business and how does it differentiate and how crowded is the market and who's coming in and what are they doing? And, are you tech or are you traditional? I don't know. There's no one size fits all. I think e-com is easier to disrupt because there's typically there's a limited amount of skilled work required in terms of hiring. If you're running a plumbing firm, you've got to hire skilled guys and gals to go out there.
The barrier to entry is so much low. I think that's a value bomb that in and of itself, what you just said, e-com is easier to disrupt. So if you're an e-com, maybe look at your business model and decide what value adds
if you're
you
drop
have.
shipping. So what's stopping me? And I mean, there are different levels of drop shipping.
There's high-end drop shipping for sure, but the traditional drop shipping model, we don't even take them as clients. There's just
it's a farce.
Yeah,
it's complete farce.
Yeah,
because the high-end stuff as well. High end, from my perspective, is where it's local sourced, country typically. And they will literally drop it for you. So you might sell furniture for a company who produces the furniture, but they warehouse it, they deliver it, and so on. But those are slightly precarious because what about anyone can turn up and do that. You have a lot more barriers if you produce the product or you have a brand, or you have a specific thing that you have a brand against, and it might be something like your hair product, but you'll have fans of the product and build. And I think this is where we get it wrong as Googlers a lot, in that we devalue brand, because for us brand awareness, we've been abused by brand awareness for years, because to us it's like videos and display ads and brand awareness is hard without big budgets and actually to measure it and so on. But the long-term brand awareness, the stuff like you do, the videos, that's your brand awareness. You build that over time. That's a cash that you build up, that a recession can't take from you.
Right. Well, and we end up being the tip of the spear with brand awareness, I think, because of remarketing specifically, but how prolific display is. When people see your logo, see your color scheme, hear your voice, see your face, see your products, all of that adds, it's just little grains of sand in the hourglass of brand awareness. And then over time, literally.
But I mean the value stuff.
Yeah.
Not to diminish the responsibility of remarketing, but it isn't. It's very rarely value add. It's more of a stalker. It's more of, the hedge is rustling outside the back door again. That Kasim guy I wish I'd swipe the other way because he won't leave me alone.
That's right.
That's remarketing, and it works to a certain, it does work, but it's not really a value add, is it? And throwing a discount in a remarketing ad, it's not a value add. That's a beg. It's a beg. A value add, it comes from the brand. You're building up your brand, and people will like you or hate you based on what they see and take.
No, everybody loves me.
I know.
Yeah.
But that cash is building over time. I mean, if I showed you my email list growth, it's the most ridiculous thing. It took like years to go from 0 to 300. And then it like went to 5,000 in a year. Yeah. And the open rates are amazing. All that. That's all brand awareness. That's my brand. So that's got some recession proofing in it. But it doesn't have to be email. It could be anything that your business is doing. If you do, I don't know, you sell, I'm looking at stuff. I haven't got anything on my desk. I cleared my desk out. I was going to pick up something as an example. I don't know.
Microphones.
Like whatever you sell as a product, how do you position that product, and how do you, content? It's just content as well. If you're doing how-tos on stuff, you sell guitars, it's like, well, here's how to restring it. Here's how to play it. Here's, there's each that can go into a million different ways. And the person doing that is building up the brand, and it takes a long time. So if you start e-com from scratch, and you just take a product to dropship or whatever, you haven't got a differentiator. You've got nothing really. You are a price match. That's all you are. You are part of a price matching exercise for a customer somewhere. They don't care about you. Look at how the mattress companies won that. Dude. Won that because, but look at how they changed the way people thought about mattresses. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just a bit of plastic and a bit of space foam. They're not even that nice. I can't even remember the name of them, but there were a few that popped up, and they did that whole thing. They built the whole brand up. They put story behind it, but they did it quick because they put a massive amount of money behind it. Most people can't do it that quick, and it takes years. That's the thing that people can't take away from you either. So there's no quick fix, but you can do it, and it is valuable. It's how I built my wealth. Being persistent and turning up. Although I haven't done my YouTube videos for a long time, sporadically turning up. If I turned up every week like you did, I'm every day, Ed. I'll probably be able to afford to get my hair cut every day, as you do. So no, that's a sort of a wide answer to a deep question. So
I thought it was absolutely brilliant. I've said, if you don't mind me saying, and hopefully this doesn't feel like I'm trying to hop onto your bandwagon here, but I feel very strongly that the best thing business owners can do for themselves in the face of a recession, in the face of commoditized traffic, in the face of heavy competition, is build a community. And I think what you're saying about brand and what I'm saying about community are basically the same things. It's a podcast or a YouTube channel or a membership like you have.
And it doesn't, but don't take it out of context, because some people think it literally means like a forum or a group. It doesn't even have to be that. A community could be a single social media channel. A community could be an email list. If these people tune into your thing, if you do a weekly shot of whatever, and I don't feel that it just has to be about the product and about what discount you got running. It can be, there's so much stuff that can support. Most things are asymmetrical, and you don't have to just be, you can think outside the box, can't you? Like, I mean, what's the best way to sell guitars? Teach people how to play guitars. I mean, it's like, so I mean, like if you're a guitar shop and you haven't got any content, go and find someone that teaches guitar lessons online. Don't make them an affiliate. Bring them into the business somehow so that people get that content. They can sign up for the content on the website, for example. Learn how to play the guitar. Who are they going to buy guitars off? Odds on you, and spares and strings and a drum kit if they start expanding. And you might not sell drum kits, but
dude, you should, if people are watching this and they didn't just take what you said to heart, that is freaking brilliant. And it's one step deeper than just community and branding. I mean, that is freaking brilliant. Yeah, hell yeah. Hell freaking yeah. I'm trying not to curse right now because I'm so excited about it. But everybody needs to go figure out, if you're selling guitars, what's your guitar lesson? And that gets really multifaceted. I mentioned microphones earlier as a product. You need to teach people how to. I can't tell you how many people ask me, like, how did you start your podcast? What equipment are you using? How hard? You know what I mean? Like, I hate, by the way, don't buy Focusrite. This freaking horrible microphone. It crashes on me all the time. It's terrible. But you could create content along those lines. There's very few things that actually don't need content. If you're selling mugs and tumblers, it's like, hey, here's how to create the best coffee. Here's how you do the French press so it's not oily.
Yeah, but look, I was talking about asymmetry and stuff. Think about like AO.com in the UK is massive. They sell white goods, freezers, fridges, so on and so forth.
You called those white goods?
Yeah, it's called white goods. I don't, because
it makes me very uncomfortable. I don't know why.
Sorry, they're called white goods because they were made of white plastic for decades. So in the UK, your microwave was white plastic or brown plastic in the 80s. We went to
brown goods in the 80s would have been, that's right up my alley.
I'll tell you what, brown plastic electronic products are sexy as anything. I wish to make a comeback. But yeah, so most fridges, freezers, even cookers were all white, and then now they're all steel and black. And but anyway, long story short, another prime example, they are massive, and they don't think asymmetrically. I mean, they could have a recipe website.
Oh,
why not?
Yeah, right.
Why not? Because then they could build up a community around the food that comes out of the fridge, goes into the oven that they sell, and the microwave if they need to reheat it. That's an example that I thought of. I thought if I had to enter a really competitive market like electronic goods, which is price matched to hell, how the hell would I do it? And that's how I do it. I'd walk in without a product. I'd walk in with the information first and invest in that. And then, it pops up.
So I had a guy ask me, he was one of the larger memory card sellers. He sold memory, which is the most commoditized thing in the freaking world. There's nothing more commoditized than memory cards. Like, how many gigs do you have? Okay, great, I'll take it. And he did really, really well. And then he's being squeezed out over time. And he's like, what do I do? And I told him, don't sell memory cards, sell the stuff on them. Like, if I have to buy a memory card, 32 gig memory card empty, or I can buy a 32 gig memory card and it has something that I'm interested in, and that's a value add, and I can just take it and run with it. Like, preload your memory cards with cool stuff. And now all of a sudden people are getting so much, depth, infinitely more value. Anyway, I'm already saying what you're saying. I just want to belong, Ed. I just want people to think that I'm as smart as you. Dude, you're so much fun to talk to and listen to. You should do more videos.
I wish my webcam doesn't work very well, so.
That's okay. I'm just going to tell people you're fuzzy naturally. Like, Ed is just out of focus.
I'm really bloody warm because I'm in a locked room and it's like
it's me. Evening. You're watching me as you're going, and I heat things up. I understand.
Yeah. The heating's on full blast, and I'm slightly cooking in here. But also, yes, you do arouse me incredibly.
Yeah, I have that effect on most people. That's why I have 6,000 subscribers now. That's why they're here.
That's why I don't.
All right, so you've got God Tier Forge, God Tier Ads, The Forge, God Tier Ads and The Forge are the same thing, aren't they?
No. So God Tier Ads is the training product. Essentially, there's a private Facebook group, which there's 1,300 or 1,400 people in it, and I'm as active as I possibly can. The Forge is an upgrade if you want. I've done the guru thing. I didn't have a private paid group. I had a private free group. It got too big. And now if you want extra and more intimate experience with me, which even my girlfriend doesn't want. So, but she's not paying a subscription. So perhaps I should put her on one. And that's what the Forge is there for. God. To cut that bit. No, you don't.
No, I'm not cutting that at all. That's staying. So God Tier Ads, The Forge, and then you've got AdEvolver, and I'm going to link to all those in the description of the video.
So AdEvolver, we've just launched. Been building it for 4 years. Scrapped the first year and a half's worth of build. Google keeps moving the goalpost. Kasim tried it out, didn't like it, but we finally.
I didn't dislike it. It was great for smaller accounts. I had 200 accounts. It wasn't good at, like, I couldn't. Like global views, for instance, zooming out, viewing all goals.
It is now. It's got a dashboard now. It's got an MCC
dashboard.
So Is it as good as some of the big established guys? No, I'll be honest, but it's not as expensive, and it does things that they don't do. So it has got some unique features. It's got the best negative keyword tool on the planet, and that will be improved too. And it will have an RSA product that no one's thought of, but that'll be in a couple of months. So yeah, but then it's an awful business to be in if it's a recession, because no one wants to subscribe to anything.
Yeah, everybody cuts off software right out of the gate.
So I'll be eating on baked beans on toast if that happens. But don't feel sorry for me. I've done all right.
I don't. No.
No. But yeah, if you're really that interested, you can check me out. But I'm not. I don't have a book yet. Maybe I should write a book. Everyone seems to be writing a bloody book. Heard you've got a book. Would you like to write my foreword?
Books. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Are you kidding? You're gonna regret saying that. Now I'm gonna haunt you to write a book. So I'll wrap it up. Ed, super grateful to you for being on the show. I'm glad I guilted you into this. This has been months in the making. And you're awesome, man. If you're watching this, go check out Ed, subscribe to his stuff, buy his content.
I should put the price up now. Price gouge it.
How much is it?
Tactic.
You said it was $4.
Hey, here you go. This is to help the listeners. When there's a bit of demand, price gouge. Let's all put the prices up. So if you go and buy my stuff now, it'll be double.
Yeah. Good.
No,
Scarcity, fear of missing out. Cool, man. Any closing words? Any last thoughts?
I think they've heard enough.
Okay. We'll just end it awkwardly there.
I mean, you probably need to cut this up into multiple videos.
Well, I like where we are. I'm posting it with some editing.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for watching, y'all. Shoot a video every day. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.
Cheers.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please give us a thumbs up. That lets YouTube know we actually know what we're doing. We shoot a video every single day. So if you want to be notified, hit that subscribe button. And if you have any input, don't hesitate to hit us up in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. We get very little human interaction. Thanks for supporting our channel, and hopefully I'll see you tomorrow.